Joining us now is Pennsylvania State Representative Malcolm Kenyatta, who is also chair of Agenda PAC, a new political group targeting anti-LGBTQ candidates this cycle. Their first target is Doug Mastriano. Mr. Kenyatta, Malcolm, thank you for being here.
Excited to do so.
Okay, what's happening in the Keystone State? How is Doug Mastriano, who is not talking to, I want to say mainstream media, he's not talking to media, basically. His views are far, far, far right. And yet, that message seems to be resonating within certain circles of the Pennsylvania electorate. What does that tell you about your state?
I think it's important for us to start by talking about the fact that I think this has exposed a real feature, not a bug, of the Republican Party. The Republican Party was never the party of freedom. And we need to be very clear. It's not just Doug Mastriano. Every candidate who's running for the state house and the state senate on the Republican side, they support this guy. But a part of what, again, this moment shows us is that when you see somebody like Doug and he talks about freedom, it is not freedom for me to be oppressed. If your version of free speech means that nobody can question your views or take you on for your lies, that's not free speech. If your only reason for running for higher office is to force people to fall in line with the tenets of your cult, that is not freedom. And I recognize as I sit here, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants like Sylvia Rivera and Marsha P. Johnson and A. Philip Randolph, my grandfather, Muhammad Kenyatta, real giants who stood up, who fought, and in some cases actually bled to expand opportunity in this country. Doug Mastriano, folks like Ron DeSantis, they are small little men who stand on the side of losers like the Confederate soldiers that Doug Mastriano parades around. And in 2 months, I believe we are going to beat him, and we're going to send him to Florida. I hope Trump has a room in Mar-a-Lago that he can rent out, or Ron will find him an apartment.
Well, okay. I mean, and I understand you are a state representative, a strong and proud Democrat.
That's right.
But put on, just help me understand how someone with these extreme views, which you granted are in strong opposition to, I mean, you're saying that the rest of the state reps are on board with this, that Republicans in the state seem on board with this. I mean, this guy he is within 3 to 6 points of becoming the next governor of the state. So what's happened to the Republican Party in the state of Pennsylvania? And does it matter that nobody's asking him tough questions? Does it matter that he's proposing a vision that's like wholly at odds with a free and liberal society?
Well, I think a part of what it shows is that the Republican Party is feckless. You had folks throughout the entire primary who talked about how dangerous he was, who talked about how much of a disaster he would be. And as soon as he won the primary, just like little ducks, they got in line behind their guy. Does it remind you of somebody? Donald Trump, who this guy was just with, a couple of days ago up in Wilkes-Barre. Pennsylvania is Pennsylvania. We are a microcosm of this country. We are always the political center of the universe. And I think the tightness that you see is the fact that we are a state that in so many ways is closely divided. But I can tell you, Pennsylvania is not defined by the dark, twisted utterings of a coward like Doug Mastriano. We are defined by people who have always took pride in the fact that American democracy was born in the Commonwealth, people who recognize it is our responsibility to defend it. And so to me, the story is not that there are multiple people who would support this guy. We know that there are millions of Americans who support Donald Trump. I think the real story is that Donald Trump was rejected. He was rejected when Republicans went up for the midterms during his presidency. He was rejected no matter what lies he screams from the rooftops when he ran for re-election. Doug Mastriano is going to be rejected. And I think a part of what we have to do is to beat this type of sick, twisted, bigoted Republican Party. And that's what Agenda PAC, frankly, Alex, is all about.
Do you think that, I mean, you picked Doug Mastriano as your first target, if you will. And do you, who are you aiming to convince when you do that?
So a part of what we have to do is not cede the ground on the conversations about queer folks in this country. For so long, people like Ron DeSantis and other fringe characters have been the only voice in this space. And there's so many incredible organizations who are recruiting and training LGBTQ candidates. But a part of the hole that we saw that Agenda PAC is going to aggressively fill is being the folks that take them on every single day. When we looked around the country, and we're going to be looking nationwide, there's no way that you don't look at Doug Mastriano. This is somebody who, said that gay marriage should not be legal. This is somebody who embraces conversion abuse. I don't call it therapy because there's no therapeutic nature to that practice. He is somebody who has made it clear over and over again he wants to use trans kids as footballs. I believe, and we believe at Agenda PAC, political footballs. We believe that most people do not believe what Doug Mastriano believes. And what we need to do is to have another voice in that space, in that fight, telling the truth about who he is and helping people understand that these people who are doing everything they can to take away freedoms, they're not going to have the final say. And so we weren't shocked at all when we saw so many people flooding to agendapac.org to get engaged. We've already raised tens of thousands of dollars, people just chipping in what they can. We are going to beat beatable bigots all across this country. I've said this before. I said it to your colleague, Jonathan Capehart. If you are a bigot running for office anywhere in this country, we see you and we are going to beat you.